In our last episode, Shan Wright talked about the impact of perfectionism and how it can lead to burnout. Today, we're picking up our conversation with her and exploring the long term impact of chronic stress and providing practical ways to calm your nervous system, reduce stress, and start healing. Do you want to achieve your goals, but anxiety is tripping you up? Like to keep those fun weekend plans, but depression has you counseling again? Hey, I'm Lori, dog mom, lover of nature, and hygge enthusiast. Positive psychology skills help me overcome chronic severe PTSD. If you're ready to learn how to overcome your anxiety and depression and rediscover happiness and purpose in life, then get your cozy on and let's get started. Welcome back to Practical Solutions for PTSD, and welcome to this community. I'm so glad to have you part of it. One thing I've learned over the years is that real healing doesn't happen through one big breakthrough. More often, it happens through small, consistent steps that begin to add up over time. And that's exactly why I created my free community. You can think of it as a free coaching session in between podcast episodes. Now, obviously, I do one-on-one coaching, and that's where we go more in depth with you individually. But within our free community, this is where you can learn and implement things that we talk about in the podcast with a little more in depth and a little more guidance to the process. So whether you join the Facebook community or my insider email list, you'll receive practical encouragement that helps you keep moving forward. I'll share simple resilience exercises, reflection questions, mindset shifts, and practical tools you can use in everyday life. Sometimes it's a reminder you need at just the right moment. Sometimes it's a challenge to help you practice a new skill. Other times it's a story from my own life that reminds you you're not alone in this journey. If you're in the Facebook community, you'll also have the opportunity to connect with others who are learning those same skills. You can ask questions, join the conversation that continues long after the episodes end. If email is more your style, my weekly insider newsletter is like a personal note from a friend. I fill it with encouragement, practical resilience tips, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive resources I don't share anywhere else. The podcast gives you the information. The community helps you put it into practice. Because listening is the great first step, but transformation happens when you apply what we've learned. Sometimes the smallest reminders on an ordinary Tuesday is exactly what you need to keep moving forward. If that sounds like something you'd enjoy, I'd love to have you join us. Both the Facebook community and the insider email list are completely free. And you can find the links in the show notes to be able to join. Or you can simply go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com. There are links there on the homepage where you can join either or both the Facebook community and the insider email list. So again, go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com. You'll find links right there on the homepage, and I look forward to having you as part of the community. Now, in our last episode, we sat down and talked to Shan Wright about her experience with perfectionism and how it impacted her health and how setting boundaries really helped her with that. And in our conversation today, we're going to continue that and jump more into how stress impacts the body. But just as a quick reminder, Shan is a registered nurse with 19 years experience. She's a holistic wellness coach, wife, and mom of 4. And after experiencing postpartum anxiety and burnout from years of caring for everyone else, she discovered the importance of slowing down and pursuing healing for her body, mind, and spirit. And today, she is passionate about helping burned out nurse moms find practical, holistic strategies to reduce stress, prevent burnout, and experience greater confidence, peace, and joy in both motherhood and their careers. Her mission is simple: help women heal so they can thrive at home, at work, and in the life God has called them to live. So sit back and enjoy this second part of the conversation with Shan. Take away some practical tips and tools to help you live a healthier life. Good. Okay. I'd like to move in a little bit more into the topic we're going to talk about, and that's how stress can impact our body. And having lived through this myself, I know there's actually a book, The Body Keeps a Score, and how much our body can reflect the stress that we've been in various ways. So I'd like you to talk a little bit about how stress leads to inflammation and what that can lead to ultimately when you're dealing with high levels of inflammation in your system.
Oh, well, stress absolutely leads to inflammation everywhere. Inflammation leads to disease, and disease leads to death. So that is to break down the body and our health. That is a trajectory that all processes go on. It's stress. And what I think we don't understand is that there's all different levels of stress. And so when I'm saying stress, I'm saying there's a pressure, there's a disturbance to the cell and the makeup of the cell in the body, and then that cell encounters this stress, it tries to adapt to that stress, and it brings in all its resources to do that.
Mhm.
And that increases inflammation. So inflammation is not always a bad thing because that's our fighter cells going to work and repairing and restoring. And so we need inflammation. It's like when you get a bruise, like you got hit. And so now there's a bruise there. What is that bruise? It's inflammation. It's
Right.
blood rushing to the system to repair. Well, and then it's going to dissipate and then it's going to go away and the bruise is going to go away. And that part of your body that got hit is going to be healed. When that happens internally to all these cells over time, and we just think it's mental stress, but it's like, no, your body is one unit. Everything is connected, everything is linked. So when you're feeling stress, like, oh my goodness, I'm stressed out, I can't take one more decision today, I just need to lay down, your body is physically experiencing that stress too. And it tries to bring in different resources. Well, if it's already capped out and it is already at a stress threshold. So we all have our different stress thresholds and we can increase that threshold. I think you probably know about this through resilience and training and all that you did, but like different people have different thresholds because of experiences that they've lived through, and that builds your resilience. But when maybe you're in high school and we have these young lives and then we experience a stress like getting a C on an exam and you're like, oh no, that's a major stress to your brain, but it's actually also doing something. And what happens? Maybe you have a stomach ache the next time you go take a test because that stress is linked to your hormones, which are in your gut, and your gut and your brain are linked. So a lot of times we feel stress in our gut. And that is just the whole physiological process of there's stress on a cell. Inflammation comes to help restore. Well, if it's already overloaded, then it's going to be too much inflammation. And then that inflammation doesn't have the resources to heal. It's going to lead to disease. I always talk about chronic stress. So we have this instance where I don't know why I picked that, but you have this instance where you got a C on your exam. And that was the one and only one, right? So then you don't get any more, you get all these A's. Then that stress threshold, when you go take an exam, you're going to feel more confident. You're not going to be as stressed out. You're like, oh, I got this. And your confidence is going to be back up. But if you continue to get C's and even worse, and you like get some F's, whatever, that's chronic. And it starts to turn into this chronic stress. And then you have a friend break up and your mom says something and you get injured and like all these things start compiling. And then that's a lot for our system to take on. So in adult life, I'm thinking a high schooler, but in adult life, you have these things like for nurses, and we go to work and we are on these hard shifts and these long shifts, and that is a stress in its own. Then we go home, then we have to take care of our family, then we have a family problem, and it's constantly chronic stress. It's like a double negative there, constantly chronic. And when we have that, it leads to, again, the disease. So we have these symptoms that pop up, and might be headaches, might be stomach aches, any kind of gut issues, constipation and diarrhea and leaky gut and injury. That's a big one, is just like, well, my feet hurt, my back hurts, my knees hurt. And that's chronic stress on your muscles, on your joints. Like it's all connected again. So we have these, but we want the quick fix, right? We want the pain to go away now. We want the headache to go away now. So what do? We use Band-Aids. We use coping mechanisms. We grab that glass of wine after work. We scroll on our phone after work. We watch a show with like a TV show and just take our mind off of it. Or, we take medication for the pain and like, I'll just take ibuprofen again. And so all these Band-Aids, and they never get to the root source. And then we go chasing the problems. Like, well, now my hormones are out of balance. Well, yeah, because your hormones are completely connected to the amount of stress that you have in your body. And so if your hormones are out of balance, don't just go take HRT and replace those. You have to find out what's the root of it. And it's not always just your time of life. because you don't have to go through, you don't have to have awful perimenopause. You don't, if you got to the root of what's going on in your body.
So how do you look for that root and what is the process of healing from there?
This is actually something I've only talked about once on my podcast, and it's very new for me. There is something that it's like quantum physics paired with AI, like incredible intelligence. And it is called a quantum cellular scan. So every cell in your body has frequency, has energy. And that is biblically proven, it's scientifically proven. And so you can get this scan done, which I've done this. It's amazing. And it scans your body and it scans the frequency of your cells to see where the stress is. So when we're just looking at these symptoms, we might not be at the root. We're just looking at the symptom on the outside, what we are experiencing on the outside. But there's a whole new a picture going on inside that we can't see. And so this scan shows you where your stress is lying, what inflammation it's putting on your body and where, shows you your toxicities. And a lot of times, that is the root of your stress is the toxicities that are in your body. And so you can get those out and then the stress can reduce. Your body's not constantly fighting something. If you think about it, your body is in fight mode when it's fighting these toxins inside. And we're just like, oh no, I'm totally relaxed and calm. And inside, your body's at war all the time. This scan is incredible. It looks at the stress load in your body, where it is, and then it gives you those results. And then I actually will coach you through ways to help reduce that stress, which would be vitamins and minerals that you actually need for your body, food and nutrients that are going to support your hormones, energy, frequency and energy is in every cell. So it's actually looking where the energy is too. And you can say, well, I have a lot of energy depletion in my heart. And so then you can look at, okay, I really need to look at vitamins and minerals to support my heart function.
Mhm.
And it's very specific and it's very preventative. So you might not even be feeling heart palpitations yet, although that is a true sign of anxiety and stress. And you might not be feeling that yet, but it pops up on the sign as you have some stress overload around your heart.
Mhm.
And you're going to start to feel those things. This is early detection. And so we can get a handle on those things. And so I walk you through a whole coaching session on the plan, some treatment that you can do, some recommendations, and it's all holistic. We're looking at spiritual practices. We're looking at renewing our mind with scripture and breath work and prayer and gratitude and nature and meditation. And we're looking at all the things as well as herbs and food and water, things that God gave us on earth to use instead of, medications, pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, I really like that, like the holistic approach, pulling in everything. Like when I was going to one of the doctors I went to, she has a holistic view of healing. And I was dealing with some physical issues, and she sat down with me. She said, Laura, you're never going to heal until you get trauma counseling. Like, what? What's that got to do with this problem? But it's absolutely connected. When you mentioned stress versus chronic stress, there is a good version of stress. Like you're sprinting out, you're in a 100-meter dash, and you're pouring everything into it. Stress can help you perform better. If you have low levels of stress, you know how to handle that. You're stressed for a moment, you get past that. But when you hit that chronic stress where you're always stressed out, it's like running a marathon at sprint speeds and you just can't handle it. Your body's going to start breaking down. And one of the things I was actually listening to Dr. Josh Axe a couple years ago in a coaching session with him, and he said that with some new research they had come out, 95% or greater of major diseases that we are dealing with today have an emotional component. That is huge. And a lot of that
Mhm.
comes back to that stress, the constant stress on your body.
Yeah.
And also, I've been listening. I follow Dr. Dan Pompa, and he talks about healing at the cellular level,
Yeah.
taking it down to the cell, and that's where you really start your healing is getting that cell healed,
Yeah.
that will then heal the body. But until you heal the cell, you're just treating symptoms and down to
Yeah.
the
We
cell.
listen to all the same people and we're tracking there. That's good. I love
Yes.
both of them. Yeah.
So I really appreciate the holistic approach, and handling like everything that goes into that, mental, emotional,
Yeah.
and how do you deal with that and taking as much as you can from the earth that God gave us and the nature that we have to be able to heal. Because our bodies are made to heal if we just get the stuff
Mhm.
out of the way to do that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're fixing to wrap up here, but before we do, I want you to talk to the people a little bit about what you do, where they can find you, and any other thing you want to offer them.
Something we touched on earlier was about identity. This is one big thing that I do touch on because as we are coming out of this understanding of what I do is linked to my worth and my value. And we want to break up with that and come into, well, who am I? And then that being that you learn that you are is going to inform your doing. And that is where you truly find rest. So when they say, you need to rest more, you need to take more breaks. And if you're so burnt out and you're headed towards burnout, then just rest more. And it's like, I don't even think we understand what that means. I
Mhm.
don't even think we understand what rest is. And then when it turns into like some self-care checklist and we're like, oh, well, I did that. I took a bath. And it's like, that's not true rest. I think true rest is for the soul, and it's a soul care, and it is self-leadership. It's actually leading yourself in ways to care for yourself. I love to talk about the verse. Jesus said, love others as yourself. And he wouldn't have said that if as yourself was not good love. Like if
Right.
we didn't love ourselves, he wouldn't be saying, I want you to love other people like yourself. We'd
Mhm.
be like, what? You mean like not care for them at all and not even offer them a drink of water and not even, you know, share anything with like he wants you to love his people genuinely with his love. That means we have to love ourselves with that same love. And that comes from truly to do that, um, you have to understand your worth and your value, that he loves you so much. And that's going to show in how you steward your body and how you steward your mind and how you steward your heart. And there's a book, Self-Compassion and Burnout. And Kristen, I forget, Neff, maybe. And it's this, she has a lot of resources on this where self compassion, which is another way to say like loving yourself, is a true antidote to burnout.
Mhm.
And so when you can care for yourself and have compassion for who you are and your needs, what your mind and heart and body need, then it actually comes out of you onto others.
Mhm.
And she did a whole study on nurses on this, and they went into a hospital and trained people for 6 weeks on this, and it changed that hospital. And so a way to learn how to rest, truly rest, is to ask yourself, what does my heart need right now? What does my mind need? What does my body need right now? It might be a walk. It might be a nap. It might be a conversation with a friend. It might be to sit and read a book. Like, I don't know. You have to ask yourself those questions. And that is where, when you learn to love yourself, you learn to really receive the identity that God put inside of you and the way that he made you and the uniqueness of you and the masterpiece that you are. So it's all, I feel like I've said this a million times this podcast, but it's all connected. Everything is connected.
Yes.
We are one holistic integrated being. And so yes, that's a big thing of what I talk about. And I have a resource called the STAT protocol, and it helps you have 4 tools to literally come into that rest in a short amount of time, because then we see, well, I don't have time to rest. And it's like, sometimes it doesn't even take that long. And so I have four tools in that. And so they stand for seeing your identity, taking a breath, acknowledging your thoughts, and thanksgiving. And so I know you love gratitude, and that's a big part of this STAT protocol as well. And so this is for those people. They don't have time. It's for the nurses, the high achievers, the healthcare professionals. They don't have time. And so grab this STAT protocol, STAT, to bring down your heightened stress, calm your nervous system, regulate just a little bit, and take a breath and appreciate and be grateful for your breath. And then you can go on. with the task at hand, but it just resets everything very quickly. So that's something that I have available at on my website at www.theshanwright.com/stat. And yeah, and then you can find me on my podcast at Beat Nurse Burnout. And I hang out on Instagram at the Shan Wright.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And I love how you work to try to customize that to the individual, which is part of what we do here is, customizing that by their character strengths or their personality and diving into that. So it's making it their own and finding their identity and the beauty and how God made them and focusing on that and leaning into that. So appreciate the work that you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job. Thank you so much for guesting on my podcast. And all the links that you're mentioning today will be in the show notes below, and we'll also link that in the post that we do on Facebook. So thank you so much for coming, Shan. I look forward to a future collaboration.
Yes, thanks so much for having me.
Again, all the links that Shan mentioned can be found in the show notes below. Also, if you would like to join our free community, just go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com and find all the links there. Hey, my friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with someone you know who may be struggling with depression and anxiety? Also, would you please leave a quick review for the show? Knowing how this podcast is helping you fills my heart with so much joy, and it motivates me for future episodes. For now, it's time for Sam and I to head outside to enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. We'll see you back here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for more great episodes.